right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. The State of the Nation discussion starts right now, where we talk about matters, politics, and everything in between. The Honorable Leo Mudende is here, as a member of Parliament from Mbeere North. Thank you for making time. Joshua Nyamori is here, as an advocate of the High Court. Thank you very much for making time. We're still waiting for Honorable Joe Nyutu, Senator from Murang'a, and Honorable Dan Manzo, Senator from Makueni. As soon as they come in, we'll just rope them into this discussion. But Nyamori, I'll start with you. On the dailies, you can see there's a lot going on there. Defiant Sifuna fired, crucified for boldness. Has he been fired for being defiant or for being bold?
I think, Honorable Sifuna, my interpretation is that the headlines are being alarmist. Honorable Sifuna boycotted work, and he's made, I think, 2 or 3 very strategic and key meetings held by his party, ODM. Our Secretary General is supposed to be keeping records of the meetings. And then Honorable Sifuna has of late been keeping company of the opponents of his party. And so in that respect, he's been causing confusion amongst the party members and general public. In my view, what the party did was, clarification of positions. That this party has certain positions on certain issues, and that this party is recalibrating and preparing, especially as they approach 2027, either to have a candidate or to negotiate for coalitions, and that it is critical that the membership stays together, stays on the agreed policy, and that anyone who then has conflict of interest, whether to support party positions or to align with those who fight the party positions, then he's free to continue with the sideshows. And I think it is a moment of truth for Honorable Sifuna. And he loses a critical position in the second largest party, whether in parliament or in terms of numbers. And I don't think that Honorable Sifuna will recover from this in the next several years. My advice to him is not to listen to the noise, but to sit down with his advisors and to find out how to rediscover himself, how to humble himself. This is not the time to listen to members of opponent parties urging him to go on the fight. ODM is big, has structures all over the country, and its membership will definitely fold into line, and he risks destroying himself.
Is it Sifuna will not recover from this, or ODM is the one that will recover from this?
Sifuna is a creation of the party. Sifuna in 2018, when the youth of the party, led him into the party, and that the party leadership then adopted him and built him, was unknown, okay? And so it is patching him there that created him. Just the way that party, ODM, created Ababu Namamba and created many other, figures. It is important to know that immediately he loses that seat, he will disappear into the oblivion. He might make noise for a while, but he cannot find a platform that is bigger than what he had as the ODM Secretary General. He cannot find it anywhere. And he will not be in a better political arrangement than what the broad-based government could offer him. They have numbers in parliament. They have structures in over 40,000 polling centers across the country. They have, the gravitas. Any party that he can align with is either a regional or a village party. Okay, if he goes to Jubilee literally non-existent, lost even in Uhuru Kenyatta's polling center in the last election. If he decides to go to ODM or to Wiper is basically an eastern region party, has no structure anywhere. The truth is that ODM and UDA controls, the numbers in Western Kenya. And it was proven during the Malava by-election. And so, unfortunately, Honorable Sifuna loses the pillars upon which he stood. And I'm thinking that Honorable Sifuna, if he does not recalibrate, will disappear.
Okay.
And I want to remind him, go back to history and read the history of the Night of the Long Knives, when certain members of the movement in Germany thought they were so powerful until the Night of the Long Knives happened, and they completely disappeared.
Okay. Let me bring in Leo on this. Leo, what is your analysis? Has he been fired for being bold or fired for being defiant?
Thanks, Trevor. Good morning, Kenyans. I think Sifuna got a very good headline. This is not boldness. Walking away from a negotiation table is not boldness. And I want to agree with my fellow panelists here. One is ODM is a strong party. It's arguably, there are two parties that are the largest parties in Kenya, UDA and ODM. So losing this position puts him in a very tricky situation, because he has been speaking as the Secretary General of ODM. Even during the time of Baba, you could see he was struggling to fit in ODM, because Baba was moving in one direction, he would come out and speak in another, moving in another direction. And at the end of the day, Baba's wish would carry the day, because he had the future of Kenya at his heart. A lot of time he had to make very difficult decisions on behalf of the party and for Kenyans. So I will not say that Sifuna is actually bold. I would say that he is trying to find his place. And in this case, he's gone the wrong way. Because when the wish of a party is to join and discuss with an equal partner, or a significant partner, then as a Secretary General, you are misleading the party by trying to walk away. If you look at the recent by-elections, for example, UDA did not field a candidate in ODM strongholds, So, and that is partnership. So already we have two parties that have shown willingness to work together. And as a Secretary General, who should know that coming together makes us stronger. If he starts revolting, and revolting really for no reason, 2027 is still far. We have time to negotiate, sit on the table. ODM puts their ask on the table. UDA will put their conditions on the table as well. Then at least walk out from a negotiation that is ongoing. You tell your people, I walked out because of 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons. Why I agree with my colleague panelist here is because right now he has no fundamental reason for rebelling, because they have not sat down, they have not negotiated. There has been only a handshake, which now wanted to be firmed up. And you can sit on a table and disagree. It is okay to disagree. But what are you telling ODM members now? Why are you not sitting, willing even to sit on the table? So to me, he's made a bad decision. In fact, I would say those in ODM who are opposed to the negotiations might actually disappear. And ODM made politicians. Baba made politicians. So today, anyone walking away from ODM or UDA at the moment is actually committing political suicide.
But there are those who are saying that his walkout might actually be the end of ODM as we know it.
Ooh,
those who are thinking that he will leave with a chunk of ODM and followers as well. In fact, on the front page of the Standard, there's one follower who's been quoted there saying that we are happy as the Mulembe nation that finally the battle lines have been drawn. Now as a region, we activate the grand plan to fully abandon ODM. That contributor is called Kennedy.
Mulembe nation, the other day, UDA won. You know, right now Kenyans are interested in development. Kenyans are interested in solutions, not roadside pronunciations, not fighting an imaginary evil, you know. Kenyans are no longer interested in that. So, of course, like I said, the Standard has given him a very good headline. Maybe they picked one of the good comments, but I can tell you most Kenyans are interested in dialogue. Kenyans want parties to work together. Kenyans want leaders to work together. And even after I remember after the handshake between Baba, the late Baba, and President William Ruto, there are many Kenyans who are not comfortable. But along the way, you realize that that was the best direction for this nation. So I want to say that Sifuna is who he is because of ODM, yeah. And I'm telling you, just watch this space. He will lack platform. The ODM supporters, and there are many, they will actually start listening to. They are waiting to see what's the outcome of this negotiation, and then they decide based on facts given to them by their leaders. Are we joining UDA? Are we walking out, and for what reasons? So I will say ODM made him who he was, and in fact he should have been quite thankful. And I must remind ODM supporters that he still was not comfortable with the handshake. He still was defying Baba a lot of time. He would speak something different from what Baba was saying, and that is something that ODM supporters should not forget. In fact, they should not forgive him.
Okay. Nyamuri, is this the end of ODM as we know it? Because there are those who argue like that. The end.
ODM cannot end on the basis of one character they created and put in a position. If that character then does not follow the rules of the party and is removed. What I can tell you is that ODM has, for the several months, been at a point where they are making a decision whether it is to remain a protest movement or to become part of a governing coalition. And then if you listen to majority of in the ODM leadership and membership of the party in ODM backyards, it is clear that the membership recognize that ODM was formed primarily to fight to take over power, and that they have an opportunity for the remaining months until 2027 to play a critical role as their members are playing in the leadership of the country, and that they are preparing themselves to even play a bigger role in this coalition that is being, is evolving in post-2027. What am I saying? I'm saying that every ODM member is seeking to continue having ODM entrenched in government. I was just in my constituency, about a few days ago, and a member of the party reminded me of a quote by Moshe Dayan when the Israelis reached, the Golan Heights and Jerusalem, and were asked, Moshe Dayan said, the Israelis have reached the holiest of their holy places, never to depart again. And the members of the party, especially in their strongholds, are saying that they moved out of government in 1966, and they have come back to the government, and they are entrenching themselves in government, never to move out again. So what am I trying to say? I'm saying that ODM will be stronger, ODM will be clear on its position, ODM will play a bigger role, and it is interesting that the politics of not only the internal politics in the ODM, but in the dead horse that is Azimio, has also provided ODM with a position to recalibrate itself. I mean, the party just announced yesterday that they're moving out of Azimio, and in movement out of Azimio, basically they are telling their erstwhile partners in Azimio that we are going to take our rightful positions even in the various legislative organs. And what that then means is that these village parties like Jubilee, which had only 26 members, a number of them who are now working with the UDA, and even Wiper, which had only 28 members in the House, and a number of them have walked out, will simply wilt away even in Parliament and not have influence, as ODM and UDA takes full control of not only the House, but also to take full control of the streets and the villages. So what we are seeing is an emergence of a big machine, a big political machine in the coalition that is evolving, and I see the opponents just wilting away into the oblivion. Okay. Thank you.
Honorable Dan Manzi is now joining us. He's the senator for Makueni, and Honorable Joe Newto, the senator for Murang'a. Thanks for making time. And I'll start with you, Manzo, because Jamhuri has made very wild allegations that you will disappear into oblivion. But before you got in here, we were discussing this issue around Edwin Sifuna. Has he been crucified for being bold or fired for being defiant?
First, I want to say that what he says is wishful thinking. You know, the removal of Sifuna makes ODM much weaker. You know, ODM spread into the country has been out of goodwill of regions. That it was enjoying a goodwill of Nyanza region, goodwill of coastal region, goodwill of Nairobi, goodwill of Western region. And this is just simply be done, as he explains, to be able to pave way for ODM to work with UDA. So what without Sifuna, what is left of ODM? And, you know, and then without DCP, what is left of UDA? It's less than 3 million votes in the country because the original Azimio coalition or the new Azimio commands most of coast, commands most of central Kenya, commands most of western Kenya. So this is like fish which has already been eaten and only the bones are left. And therefore, really, and we are going to see more of this. There are bigger forces within ODM which do not support UDA, and for good reasons. You know how badly UDA government has treated Kenyans, how it is a shred of corruption. You know, UDA does everything which ODM and Raila Odinga never stood for. You can see, you know, all these initiatives of 10-point agenda. Now they will never be achieved at all. It's just a selfish move. It is illegal because there are two main coalitions in the country. There is the Azimio coalition and there is Kenya Kwanza coalition. You cannot be in two coalitions at the same time. If you are going to leave a coalition, you must give the necessary notices. And if you give the necessary notices, then they must follow. And even the removal of Sifuna is illegal. It's unconstitutional. ODM never followed his own constitution. Sifuna has options. He can do it politically, or he can also go to court and fight this. And even the killing of Azimio is unconstitutional. We can go to court and fight it. So there's, and those two coalitions are the registered coalitions. It is the structure of the House. And this is creeping in of a dictatorship. Yeah. The root of dictatorship is beginning now to grow and do bad influences into other parties. You know, Kenya is a multi-party system. Okay. There is no day it's going to be a single-party system. But if you see the ideology behind the thinking of UDA and its leader, William Ruto, you can see is... you know, it's a wish that there could only be one party in the country. And that's what they have been trying to push to people, that without knowing that and without recognizing that we are in a multi-party democracy. Yeah. Each party, you know, is free to market itself. Okay. And you cannot just now force parties to be together. I can assure you, ODM will regret forever. This is now how they will never be part of government.
If you say the killing of Azimio is unconstitutional, is there election of Kalonzo Musyoka as the leader of Azimio now also unconstitutional?
It was very constitutional because this is the party organs which met. After all, now Baba, who was in that particular position, is no longer with us. And therefore, automatically, it would not have been left empty so that we look constitutional. So that was perfectly constituted, and the removal of Junaid Mohammed is perfectly in order.
Okay.
So let them go and get finished with Ruto.
let me bring in Joe Newton, then I'll come to you. Then, Joe, what is your observation of this standoff at ODM? Is this the end of ODM as we know it, or not? Or the end of Sifuna himself?
Thank you, Trevor. Though I came late, I was following the happenings here, and I listened to the submissions by my colleagues. Of course, I was following online. And I can tell you, Trevor, that the removal of Sifuna has nothing to do with ODM. It has everything to do with William Ruto. And I'm going to tell you why. During the burial ceremony of Raila Odinga's bodyguard, and I hope you would play that clip, Ruto said that, you know, Sifuna, I'm a founder member of this party, ODM. And if you continue attacking me, I'll call a meeting where you will be disciplined. Trevor, that meeting was called by President Ruto yesterday, just as he's promised during the burial of Raila Amolo Odinga's bodyguard. So it has nothing to do with Sifuna departing from the party position of ODM. It has nothing to do with anything to do with ODM. It has everything to do with William Ruto as he promised during that particular ceremony. And it is there, and you can play that particular clip. So the meeting finally happened yesterday at the behest of President Ruto. But one thing that has really disappointed me with Honorable Amudende and my brother Nyamori here, you know, I was trying to listen to what they were saying, and I was trying to see whether at least either of them would talk about, you know, principles, you know, whether somebody can be principled as a leader or even as a citizen. They have no place for that. For them, Sifuna has to blame for everything. I mean, because he did not follow the party position, because he has been contradicting everything that is agreed. None of them was fair to Sifuna. You know, where is the place of principles in this country? Can't somebody be principled? Nobody considered that Sifuna could have just been, principled, and that is why he held on to the position that ODM had not joined government, even when Baba himself was alive. Because this is not something that Sifuna started when Baba passed on, basically 4 months ago. And anybody who has been following Sifuna, even when he appears on shows here, he has been saying, and I didn't hear the two colleagues again talk about the important, you know, the coming together of UDA and ODM was based on something that they called the 10-point agenda. And I have listened to Sifuna very well. And he says, and it is true, it has a deadline. He has been asking, has the 10-point agenda been addressed? Because that was the basis of the coming together of UDA and ODM. But looking, hearing, listening to my friends, I mean, the 10-point agenda is nowhere. Sifuna was just supposed to follow. And Sifuna, when he read this particular agreement, because as Secretary General then, and he said that he was very careful to read, to see what the coming together of the two particular formations were, what it was, and he said, and what it was not. Now, the difference between Sifuna and those who threw him out yesterday is that those who threw him out are concentrating more on what the agreement was not. And, ignoring completely what it was. But quickly, I have heard Nyamori say that Sifuna can only join village parties, and he has given an example of Jubilee. I do not belong to Jubilee. But Trevor, to be fair, how many members did Jubilee have pre-2022? Very many members. In fact, Nyamori should know. If Jubilee was a big party then, and it is a small party now, by looking at the members of the National Assembly, that is exactly the same fate that is going to befall ODM. ODM might be very big in the two houses now, but I can bet.
Yeah.
By the way, from the way ODM is conducting his business, by the time we go for elections, ODM will be a very small party. And I dare say it will be a Luo party, and it will not actually control the whole of Luo Nyanza.
So why are you blaming President William Ruto on this, and yet it was the National Executive Council that met in Mombasa and made this resolution, and they read it themselves?
But Trevor, I have told you that President Ruto promised that was going to happen. When Sifuna appeared here in this station, I think last week, and when he had an interview here last week, he said that most of the activities that ODM has been carrying out have not been funded by ODM. And that is on record. He said it here.
And the other members came out and
in this particular media station.
Governors themselves.
That's fine. But Sifuna said it. Sifuna has been the Secretary General of the party. And I think I heard him say that he's a signatory to the account. And that the amounts that were being spent, there was parallel funding, if I were to quote his words. So where is the parallel funding coming from? Of course, from the person who promised that he would call. He said he would call for a meeting of that party. Yes.
Isn't that just speculation?
It's not speculation.
He may have said that. He said that in the speaking to Yvonne.
Yes.
But he did not disclose who is funding it. He said that it's parallel funding. It's true. But some of the ODM members say that it's some of their governors who are funding all these things that they are doing in different places. How are you putting this at the desk?
In fact,
it is not an ODM member. That's what
if somebody said that the governors have been funding this, actually, Manzo and I have a job to do. Because I don't think there is any allocation to governors to fund the parties.
Yeah.
I think Manzo and I think I may want to see you behind the tent to actually maybe give us more information, because Manzo and I have a job to do. The governors who have been funding this then should come to the Senate, should appear before the Senate and answer several queries.
The governors themselves say that the senators are extortionists. Are you extortionists?
Of course I'm not. They have not even mentioned my name. But bringing that here, Trevor, I mean, Adan Duale once said, and I remember he was addressing Isaac Ruto when Isaac Ruto was governor for Bomet. And Isaac Ruto was a chair of the Council of Governors that time. And he was promoting the kind of idea that governors are now promoting, that they do not want to be accountable. Adan Duale said, si pesa za mama yako. The governors are being called before the Senate committees to answer queries regarding public resources allocated to them. I mean, they cannot say that when they are asked questions. And I like the way the chair of the County Public Accounts Committee, the Honorable Senator Kajwang, said, if you do your things right, if you expend the money sent to you in the right way, why would you have a problem appearing before the Senate? Why would you accept to be extorted if you have done things in the right way? You know, Trevor, this is like somebody saying, I am demanding that the fire in hell be reduced because we are burning too much when we come there. Why are you sinning? If you don't sin, you not go to hell. Why are you complaining? Why would you want the intensity of fire in hell reduced if you are following the commandments of God? I mean, that is what I think the governors are doing.
We'll come back and talk about that conversation in just a short while. My guests are all here now, so let's take a quick commercial break. We're back with this discussion in a short while.